computer. Oh my gosh, I am so excited about this because we've been working together for months now. And I'm also really excited for this case study because you came completely different than, most of my students over the past 6 years. You came through my newer program for holistic coaches and course creators called High Ticket Holistic. So, without further ado, Ashley and Ashton are going to talk about Ashton's journey, but let's get started. Just tell me the deets on, where you're at, who you are and all that stuff.
So my name is Ashton, and I live in a little town of Lubbock, Texas, Panhandle of Texas, Bible Belt, all of that. I have been a hairstylist behind the chair for like 10 years, and this last year, like stepping in, like really stepping into the role of like educator and leader, and kind of just didn't even know. Well, I thought I knew how to start, and then I tried starting on my own, and it just was not working out how I thought. And so hopped into the high ticket holistic, and it's been like a freaking game changer for me in every aspect, not just like in my business, but actually like it's spread out to like just other areas of my life too, where I'm just like feeling just more confident in other areas as well. And so it's just been really, really empowering. Yeah.
I love these interviews, by the way, because when I start interviewing like people who are like coaching now, like they know they're like, I'm gonna answer it the right way. It's awesome. I like really enjoy it. So you're like, I'm gonna be a great student here. Good coach. So I would love to hear like a little bit about the backstory. You talked about like I work behind the chair, I was educating, but like it wasn't the most delicious experience. So let's start there. Like how long have you been educating? Let's just start with that.
I literally like, let's see, this is February. So like last year, starting in like January, February, like I
Okay,
started
cool.
like, yeah, so like brand new. And what I was starting with was doing like mini classes and like in-person like workshops and events, or like kind of like a retreat type idea where it's like bringing in like different educators and modalities and things like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it was really exhausting. Like I got in it with like a full heart of like I just want to do this to create. Like I already have this great business behind the chair. Like I don't need to be doing this like financially. It's like I have everything set, but it was something I really wanted to do, and I was just finding myself like literally throwing away like thousands of dollars like trying to make this work on these little mini classes, and only like literally Ashley, like having to like, I mean, my first two classes I was just giving away spaces like, please will you just show up, like please, can I just need this room filled kind of thing, where it was just like
Mhm.
it was kind of just crazy, like, oh please, like, you need this, like it's free, like just come on, like just do it, I'll do it for you, like best friend discount, like whatever. um
Hmm.
and that was like, sure, that was like great to like get people there, but then it was like not retaining anything and not getting like feeling like I'm getting any sort of like energetic return, where I was just like giving, giving, giving all of my like energy and education without like people like really like accepting it, or like
Valuing it.
valuing it and like
Okay.
following through with it. Like that was the other thing, like implementing what I was trying to like teach. There was like this
Hmm.
huge gap.
How
Um,
much BT dubs, like how much were you charging? Obviously you were, also like charging nothing for some people, but like average price point, like how much were you charging for these like classes?
I mean, like $44 for
Okay.
like, yeah. So I was going like, and the most was like 111 for like a huge like 2 hour class.
I
So like,
love us. We're always like angel numbers.
yeah, it's like you gotta make it resonate. Like, yeah, it's like
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
just
I
felt.
get it. Cool.
So it
So
was like anywhere
then,
between 44 and 111. Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
then what intuitively motivated you to step into high ticket holistic? Like, first of all, like how the heck did you find me? And then also what motivated you to like book the call and step in?
Well, I mean, obviously I've been like stalking and following you for literally years. Like I feel
Oh,
like
I had
literally
no
like,
idea.
yeah, no, seriously. Like I think, I mean, like really it's like you were the inspiration to like what got my business to where it is today. Like I took all your mini classes like that you'd offer. Like,
Mhm.
I think I was actually like looking back at like some of my like bank statements, and I had bought like a mini course from you like last December. It was so funny. Like around the same time that I started High Ticket Holistic, like I had bought like a mini course kind of like talking about that, like where you were like kind of like starting to like put that out there. And so I'd been following you for literally probably like a decade now. Like as soon as I found you on Instagram, I started working behind the chair. And so I just like I knew where I wanted to go, right? Like you were like the inspiration of like, oh, I see where this can like literally go.
Okay.
And I knew, obviously like you've been a coach for a while. And when I saw you offering the high ticket holistic, it was just like immediately when I saw that like it pop up, it was just a fuck yes. It was like, of course, like I have to do this because like I saw that it worked. I saw that what you were doing was like literally working like and like at such a high level that
Mhm.
I knew that the level I was at like I had to bring myself to a higher level and I had to bring myself into a circle, like just a group of people that were on the same page because the people that I were around were not on that page. And so it was hard to get out of that like from this to like, no, I have to break, like I have to make like I want to make this happen and it's a certain level. And so it's literally like I just knew like once I had like seen you post that, it's like, yeah, like let me do this. So I bought your mini course and I think you had like a high ticket like sales that I had invested in.
Mm,
And
yeah.
of course it was like book a call if you feel like you need more help. And I'm like, I obviously need help because I feel like I've kind of been like I have these ideas of what you were saying, but like how to like actually do it was like there's a huge disconnect because I've never done this before. Like I was actually like really against being an educator. Like I had convinced myself that I couldn't do it, like, and that I didn't want to do it and I didn't have the patience for it.
Mm.
Which was all just like a lie that I had, it was all just a lie I told myself. And so, yeah, like it was just like I already knew that this is what I needed to do before even saying yes in like the phone in the discovery call.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's a really good point that you bring up because you're talking about I didn't need to know how I needed to know like how to do it, right? And there's a lot of that in our industry because we're both in the beauty industry. But I would love to hear a little bit, because we've been working together for a while now. So I would love to hear what your process has been like. Like what are some of like the wins and things that you've learned? Like, yes, the how, but also like what else? Because you already spoke to that in the beginning. You were like, oh, it was like so much more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, it literally has been like a transformation. And if I get emotional, like it's because
Good.
it's like, yeah. Because I felt just like I was like really like just already reaching burnout with education. I was like, no, I really like I love this,
Mhm.
And so like going from a point where I was just like feeling lost to literally like, oh,
Yeah.
I have literally stepped into my purpose
Yeah.
where I have found like this is my path to be able to, like all the things that I love in life, like community and like empowering people and like just lifting people up. And it's like to be able to have a container that I can do that in has been the most empowering thing for me. To be able to find my voice is really what it is, like finding my voice of what's important. So yeah, it's been a very like it's been a huge transformation. It hasn't just been like, oh yeah, I'm learning like step one, two, three, and four, like that's great and all, but like the mind blocks behind it of like the imposter syndrome, all these things of like, I'm less than, I can't do this. This is not my place. Like stepping out of that and just having a very clear vision of like what like my purpose and my mission has been like a very, very powerful thing where I see that like almost spreading out to like, like my boyfriend and my family and my friends where it's like they see that and it's like growing on everyone. So it's been such a great transformation. And I see like my even like my clients behind the chair, like they see what I'm doing and they're like, oh, she's leveling up. So it's even taken like my work behind the chair, which is kind of like, it's a separate and same thing, but it's taken that to a whole new level too, where I'm able to like empower the people behind my chair in a way that feels more empowering.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much have you made so far from your program that like just like finished its beta? Couple
Um,
couple four figures?
yeah, so I went from having literally like, zero students, having to like get people to like
$44.
yeah, exactly, from $44 to having people pay like 1,700 plus right
Hmm.
now, like in my little like beta stage, and like knowing that it's gonna go up from there. And so I have 8 students right now total, like between like, yeah, it's kind of incredible. So going from that to like having 8, and I'm like, what I started in September. Like that's just crazy to me that from September to February, like like I have a program, where I
Yeah,
didn't have one before and have like paying students that there's a great like energy exchange, not just like me giving, 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 giving till I'm exhausted.
correct. Your
Mhm.
students show up differently.
Yes, they show up differently and they show up eager to learn and to listen and just absorb.
Mhm. And before we hopped on here, one of your students has tripled her revenue in
Yeah,
less than 90 days through walking through your process.
yes, yeah. I mean, like more than, let's see. So she's almost like quadrupled her revenue. Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
what do you think that represents? Like to make an additional 25,000 a year?
Gosh, I mean, for like that represents so much like, and I've been working with women, right? And like a lot of the people I'm working with are like single women, like single moms too. And so
Mm,
like for me, that represents just like it just represents power.
mhm.
Like they're able to take care of themselves now.
Yeah.
They weren't before, which is really cool. Yeah.
And where is this like helping you, like big picture? I think you talked about you're like, oh, like my clients are like kind of feeling that energy of somebody who is really stepping in their power. So that your clients are feeling that. You said something about, like your partner.
Yeah, like even like, my boyfriend, like he sees that and he like I feel like it's been like an encouragement for like his business too, because he has a totally separate like business than what I do. But it's definitely spread where it's like him seeing me step into like my power has encouraged those around me to do that as well, to be like, oh, that's possible. It's like you can work less and make more and like have a happy life and have space and have freedom and still like be true to yourself. And
Mhm,
that's been, I think, like a really powerful thing to see, like not just me transform, but like the mirror effect, it's like everything around me is literally like just shifting and it's just amazing.
mhm. Have you
Mhm.
started to think about what your future is going to be? Like, are you going to like kind of go still like haves and halves, like don't know, you're just like really enjoying like this phase in your life? I'm always just so curious of like, now that you've experienced this in, literally only 5 months, right?
It's yeah, it's a very powerful thought to think like, oh, this is how far I've come in 5 months. Like 5 months from now, like,
Hmm.
whoa, like, and then 5 months from then, like, whoa. And so it's had me really like it's had me thinking about my future in a different way where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can really like I can have the best of both worlds because there for a while, like starting with education, I was like, how am I going to be like working behind the chair and like feeling like I can like educate but the stuff that I'm doing behind the chair, at the same time. And now it's like I'm able to have like literally the best of both worlds, where it's like the clients, like the new clients that I'm getting, even like behind the chair, like, they're coming because I'm like stepping into my power. Like, oh, she's an educator, she's a coach, like she knows what the heck she's doing. Like, of course I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to her.
Yeah.
So it's like thinking about my future, it's like I definitely see myself like I'll always probably do something behind the chair, obviously, because I love that so much and that's what I coach on, right?
Hmm.
But I definitely see like myself just like really forming like a community within that as well, and it being more education and power based and empowerment based as opposed to just coming in for TLC. It's like people are coming in to like I don't want to like literally like get that light spread to them, if you will. It's like, oh, I kind of want some of that. Where I have clients now like asking me for bit like wanting me to coach them in their own like small business that has nothing to do with hair, which is
Correct.
like really powerful.
Correct. We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, that's a whole other coaching course that I'm already working on. Like
Let's
I'm
be
already
clear.
working on that.
Let's
Yeah.
be clear on the energy. But
Yeah,
yes,
like
that's awesome.
that's a
That's great.
very yeah. Where I'm like, okay, I see where I could really just see where this is going. Where it's like where clients are asking me that, it's like, oh, like I really have like I have a system that I can share with not just hairstylists, because I've started 3 or 4 businesses in the past 10 years, and it's like so being able to take that and be like, oh yeah, I can literally like spread this to help so many other people besides just my genre, right?
100%.
Mhm.
And I would love for you just to speak to, I don't know, what other mentors that you have worked with in the past, but I'd love for you to speak just a little bit on like the importance of mentorship.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like if you don't have a mentor or a coach or like a counselor or something like that in your life, like for me, like I just know like from my own experience, I'm only able to get to a certain level. Like I can only get to like to one like bit by myself.
Yeah.
And the moment that I like ask for support or ask for help or like have a mentor to just like guide me and to have like a, an influence, it's like it literally takes you from being like, yeah, you can do this to like, oh yeah, you can do this times 100. Like you have the support around you. And then knowing too, that's like, the people that I'm getting, like I'm getting coached by people who are also getting coached. And so it's like a continual like level up, right? It's like I know that I'm just going to continue to get stronger and better and more powerful, by having a coach because it's like, I mean, for me, I sometimes I just need someone to just talk me out of my bullshit, of just like, okay, let's
Yeah.
just talk through this, because you get so stuck in the present, it's like it's easy for us just to like see what's in front of us and it's like kind of freaking out. But to have someone who's like totally separate from you, like, who doesn't even live in the same town as you, it's like all of that to be able to be like, hey, no, look, like literally see it from a bird's eye view of like, this is what I'm seeing and this is what it can look like. And then here are the three, like, here are the steps that you can take like this
Right.
week, it's like so powerful.
Yeah, I've been leaning more and more into like private mentorship and like long-term containers because there's just only so much that you'll get in like DIYs and even just like watching like online modules, you know? Like I
Mm,
even had somebody the other day come to me and say, "Well, I mean, I just think that this is only for like salons." I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like let's talk about the," and I wouldn't have sussed that out unless like I was in a private container with that person to be to actually challenge that belief. Oh, that's interesting that that thought comes up. Well, let's
mhm.
challenge that. Like, what makes you think that? Like, what makes
Yeah.
you think that that energetic work is only for the salon business? Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
And that's the things that you cannot suss that out just by watching modules. Like you just can't. You have to coach the person, not the problem.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I love.
Yeah. Well, I think this is really exciting because it definitely has brought me into just really loving working with people in our industry to teach them, how to be holistic coaches and course creators. So it's just been absolutely delightful. I know that we're continuing to work together, but I would definitely want you to, shout out about your business, how people can connect with you, if it's Instagram, your website, et cetera, et cetera. Like, how can we find out more about you, Ashton?
Yeah, so my Instagram, Facebook handle is just at Love Natural by Ashton. You can hop onto my website, lovenaturalbyashton.com. A quick Google search will pop me up as well. Go ahead and join my email list. I'd love to have you on my email list because I do like to send emails. And don't mind me, I do sometimes have typos, and I had the most hilarious typo yesterday. So if you're not on my email list yet, you missed that, but you got a good laugh yesterday if you did get on there.
People
Um,
people totally are fine with typos. They just know that it's a real person and it's not
yes,
at GPT.
exactly. I just had to laugh it off for that reason. Because I'm like, at least it's me typing it and not something else because there's no way that ChatGPT would have put that in there. Like it was like such a funny one that I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I almost like I even posted it on my stories. I was like, this is too funny not to share. I hope y'all see this and get a laugh out of it because I sure as heck did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Um,
that's find
last
me.
question. Last question. Advice that you have for anybody who wants to be a holistic coach, course creator, is maybe thinking about it, but kind of like, I don't know. Like, what's advice?
Just do it. Don't think, just do. Like that's my advice. Like I
Oh,
think the more we just like sit and think and like, oh, what about this? Weigh pros and cons and da 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 da. We get too much in like the literal as opposed to just like following your gut. And so my advice is just to do it. Like don't and find a mentor. Like work with Ashley. Like just do it. And it's worth every single penny times 1,000. Like I have no regrets and I just can't like I feel like it'll be something I will continually have like my whole life, right? Is just having a mentor and coach and
yes.
continuing with that because it's just so like you have like I have like at this point I'm like, yeah, there's
We
just
have
it's
to as coaches. It
yeah,
really, it really
yeah.
keeps the energy super clean and clear. Like we
Mhm.
have to be the one who is investing. If we want to receive at that certain level, and we don't want to be like the affordable coach, which I don't, it's not really my brand. I don't believe in that. So, it's fine if people want to do that. It's just not where I'm at. But if I want people to invest in me in that level, then I have to be willing to do that for myself, and I have to be willing to do that like over and over and over again.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story. What a delight.
Of course, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Yeah.
Yeah.